Six socks.
Bonjour mes amis, hi guys. I've just picked up the blue version of the Seiko 5 Sports GMT reference SSK003. Remember back in July last year, these came out to much acclaim, and I think the fans of the old SKX were quite miffed by the release of the more like a lifestyle version that came out a couple of years ago without the 200 meters of water resistance, without the screw down crown. It came out in all sorts of colors and was very much a lightweight compared to this favorite that belongs in any collection, whether you have just one watch or whether you have 100 watches. This one just looks so cool. And that revamped version of the SKX was not quite the same. When the GMTs came out last year, that was really I think a game changer. I had picked up first the orange version. I thought it was the most fun one, the most Seiko one, but all three colors were great. The black one is fantastic as well, and I felt like the blue one was a bit too much of a Rolex look-alike with the Batman, of course. Although the dial here is beautiful shade of blue, very very discreet. But yeah, yesterday I was walking by one of the Seiko shops, and this one caught my eye again. I was kind of waiting to see if they were coming up with new colorways, and I'm sure they will. And I can imagine maybe a paddy version where they would put back the 200 meters of water resistance with a screwed down crown, and maybe put a diver's bezel, but keep the 24-hour hand and scale on the inside. So you would at least have 2 time zone. Here, of course, you can have up to 3 time zone. But really, these watches look absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful revamp of the look. You see the old indices and hands keep the same shape, but now you have the indices applied, so there's a bit more quality in the look. The lume, as you know, is always fantastic with Seiko. It's like a torch at night. And as I just mentioned, the Réo, as we say in French, that angled scale around the dial, I think adds a lot of classiness to this watch, and the blue is really fantastic. Speaking of blue, the daytime portion of the GMT bezel, if you angle the watch this way, it looks completely black. Most of the time it will be a darker, luscious shade of blue. Seiko are masters of colors. But if you catch the light really well, it can get very electric blue, as you can see here. So it's a lot of fun. Overall, the dimensions, you know them with the SKX. It's probably the one which, on paper, you wouldn't think wears so great. 42.5 by 13.6. It's quite big, and in any other brand would be very big. But here, the wingspan, those are integrated lugs are very short, so it's just about 45, 46. So it wears great on pretty much any wrist. A bit of a heavy watch, but so charming. I've never felt like my SKX was too big. I played tennis with this one. It has never skipped a beat. Now let's compare the bracelet. Here we have the old rattlesnake folded links type of bracelet with a pretty shitty clasp that you have to pull out this way. So the bracelet and the clasp are a bit better, quite a bit better here, much more substantial, but it's still a bit of a rattlesnake, just not as much as before. And here you now have pushers on each side to open the clasp, which is a bit nicer, a bit more upscale, and the clasp itself looks just a bit better. Of course, the price point is still very very low on this watch, and I still have a sticker on the movement, because now, unlike in the past where you had that wave engraving, now you have a display case back on the 4R34 movement, 6 bits per second, 41 hours of power reserve, 24 joules, This one seems to be running yeah, a little bit slow, but it's okay. So it's the 4R34. The crystal is hardlex, which is not as bad as you would imagine. It's still pretty durable, not as much as a crystal, sapphire crystal, of course. You have the Cyclops on the date, which is obstructed by the cool GMT hand. So as I said, 3 time zones. Here I have it's just 12, 30, 37. Here in Hong Kong, in Europe, it's 5:37 at the moment in Brussels, and yeah, you can use. Some people dig it, some people don't. Most people just leave the watch like this, right? But it looks cool as well. Kind of changes the look of the watch if you put it on the side. And of course, the crown here is just a push crown, but you still have 100 meters of water resistance. I will test it on holiday to see if it resists just jumping in the pool. It is protected by the crown guards, and I have to say it's very easy to power back on if you have left the watch down for more than 41 hours. Of course, you can give it a shake. The Seikos are so efficient. And the other thing I really like about Seikos is that when you pull out the crown, by the way, this 4R34 has hacking, as we say. You can stop the balance. What I like is that when you set your time, there's no jitter of the minute hand when you pull the crown and when you re-engage it, and it gets going as you engage it. And it's something that even when you pay top dollar, you don't always get with the Swiss movements. And here you get it at the entry level of the Seiko range. Always like the Seiko for that. If you pull to the first click, going up, you can just pick your second time zone. So it's very easy to set. Going down, you can just change the date. So very simple. So yeah, in this case, it's not the traveler's GMT, let's say, whereby you can change the hour hand without stopping the watch, change your local time without stopping the watch, and change it by increments of 1 hour. In this case here, it's more like a static type of GMT hand, but it's the one you use most of the time. Most of the time I am not traveling, and it's a lot easier to have the date easy to change this way rather than going around the dial many times with the hour hand. So beautiful colors, very simple dial. Even the Seiko 5 logo looks quite good on this watch. I like that they kept it simple. Otherwise, automatic GMT with the old font for the automatic, very much appreciate it. And overall, it's a delight. And as I said, well, a couple of years ago, the new SKX, more like sports style watches, were a bit of a letdown. This one really reconciliates all the aficionados of the brand. So let me know what you think, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye bye.